evening, welcome to Central News for Tuesday the 27th of August. I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, in New Zealand between 7 to 10 children on average every year are killed by their caregivers or parents. And the National Government's Vulnerable Children's Bill is aiming to tackle this shocking statistic. More statistics reveal that from June 2011 to June 2012, there were 4,766 cases of neglect, 3,249 cases of physical abuse, 1,396 cases of sexual abuse, and 12,114 cases of what social workers label as emotional abuse, as these are often children who have witnessed family violence. The Vulnerable Children's Bill aims to protect and improve the well-being of children in these situations and provide better support systems for the children of New Zealand. A Vulnerable Children's Conference was held in Cambridge last week. Organisers are hoping that this conference, which is the first of its kind, will allow people to be able to correctly identify vulnerable children and opportunities for earlier intervention. Kevin Christie, the CEO of Footsteps, was one of the organisers of the conference and says that reporting suspected vulnerable children should never be delayed.
Depending on the age, but I would always call Child, Youth and Family. There's a really good help centre that can help them. They could call Footsteps themselves, 0800 Footsteps, and we'll pass them on to the right people. They could report to the police. They could report to anybody that will then filter them into the right place. But we at Footsteps will obviously help you do it if you phone us.
In Eastern Bay of Plenty, iwi is challenging a High Court decision and has taken its case to the Court of Appeal in Wellington. Te Mana o Ngāti Rangitihi Trust is challenging the Eastern Bay Energy Trust polling process to seek consumer approval to purchase all shares in Horizon Energy it does not already own. Te Mana filed an injunction and was successful in getting Eastern Bay Energy Trust to abandon its poll. Te Mana o Rangitihi Chairman Graham Pry says questions have been raised about whether or not Eastern Bay Energy Trust was in breach of its own trust deed in purchasing Horizon shares in excess of a 25% cap it placed on itself. Now for our region's weather, Hamilton, cloudy with a few showers and a westerly. Your expected high is 16 and an overnight low of 7. Tauranga, fine spells with a shower or two on your Wednesday. Your expected high is 16 and an overnight low of 9. Just ahead, the Vulnerable Children's Conference in Cambridge. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. Last week, Cambridge held a Vulnerable Children's Conference, which was the first of its kind. Experts gathered to share knowledge and strategies for protecting and helping vulnerable children in our region. As part of the conference, a residential home in Hamilton for vulnerable women and their children was given a makeover, thanks to a community outreach program. We caught up with Kevin from Footsteps.
What role do you have and what is Footsteps?
I'm the founder of Footsteps and I hold the role of Chief Executive Officer. Footsteps is a early childhood home-based business, and what makes it really different, it's an action-based business. It's about doing the things other people talk about. So it's going into the homes, visiting the children, and we have a particular heart for these vulnerable children. So Footsteps is about how do we provide a learning wraparound for these children.
What factors are considered when it comes to identifying vulnerable children?
I think one of the important things that we need to get clear up front is there are so many different definitions for vulnerable children. So we at Footsteps have chosen to rather recognise a child's self-worth that comes from his sense of belonging and believing they are acceptable and capable. And out of that stops children being vulnerable. So our concentration is on making sure these factors don't come into play so they don't become vulnerable. It's important to note vulnerable children don't stand on street corners. They don't wear big signs. They're people that operate within communities. And Footsteps seeks to go into those communities and work with those communities around these special children.
What is the current statistics around vulnerable children in our region?
No real reliable statistics are available because the definition of vulnerability changes. All children to a certain extent are vulnerable. It's the degree of vulnerability that we're talking about. So we concentrate on the 0 to 6-year-olds and we try not make numbers out of children, because if we make numbers out of children, a couple of ticks and we think we've done a good job. That's not the way it works. If all of this only saves one vulnerable child, it'll be worthwhile. So we don't concentrate on the statistics. We concentrate on these special people.
What happens to children who are at risk if there is no intervention, or perhaps the intervention is too late?
It's shown us that if you intervene before the time they're about 6 or 7, you have a more than 80% chance of doing the correction. If you don't intervene, if you don't do these things, they normally end up in youth justice, or they become one of your statistics. They become those that haven't got to that place of becoming them. I think everybody needs to make a choice. If we don't deal with these special people, they're either going to add to your superannuation or they're going to take away. If we deal with them, they contribute to all of our superannuation. If we don't, they become a drain.
So you've recently held a conference focusing on vulnerable children in New Zealand. So who was involved with this?
It's the entire organisation. We bring the entire organisation together who exist from Invercargill right to Cape Reinga and all the sides. So we bring these 50 teachers together and we provide professional development, getting together of what's working, what's not working. And during this time, a number of the ministries like the Ministry of Social Development, we even had the Cabinet Minister there this year, Paula Bennett, who did some announcements on vulnerable children, and a number of other people that contribute to this holistic approach. Because Footsteps believe we're not the answer. We're just a part of the answer. It's this collaboration. So if we believe that, we on an annual basis bring all these people together that can collaborate to make sure vulnerable children become a history.
What sort of strategies are in place to help protect vulnerable children in New Zealand?
The recent announcements since the Green Paper have improved what's in place. One of the things we still have to deal with is people talk about thinking outside the box for these children because they have become vulnerable because they don't fit. I'm saying let's throw away the box and what can we wrap around or fit around them, and what strategies do we need to go around them to make sure it works. Because the only reason they're vulnerable is the old strategies didn't work. So it's about creating a new set of paradigms for these children.
Can you tell me what the Hamilton House for Vulnerable Women and Children is all about?
It's a place of rebuilding. It's a place of walking with women who have made some bad choices. And so therefore they've lost their children, and then after they've been through rehabilitation, they come back to this place, they're reunited with their children, and a whole lot of services are wrapped around them, including our learning service, to give them a fresh start. So what happens is they're short of money, they're short of a whole lot of things. So what we did is we took all these 70 staff of ours from all over the country, and we brought them in, and we've done a makeover. So what we did is we repainted the whole place, we put up some playgrounds. We've said, as you want a fresh start in life, why not make the place you stay afresh? So we've tried to create a fresh start for all of them in a really fresh place.
What is the proposed Vulnerable Children's Bill focused on?
Is for the first time they're trying to make sure that all the various agencies work together in cooperation for children, because before you had a health view, an education view, a caring view, and any other view you had. Now they're actually accountable to put whatever services in collaboration around those child to make it work. And that's the exciting part of the bill. There's some details which still got to be worked out, but that's the key thing that really excites me, that we'll work together in collaboration for these special people.
Nearly 20% of New Zealand children live in poverty. For more information on current legislation and the proposed Vulnerable Children's Bill, visit childrenactionplan.gov.nz. Coming up next, raising money through a Ladies' Day Out. Welcome back. It's hard enough raising children, but what about when your child has specific needs, when they have a health impairment or disability? Well, one local lady is holding a Ladies' Day out to raise money for the organisation that helps these mums. Welcome to the program, Julie. So tell us about your Perfect Girls' Day Out.
Hi, thanks very much for having me. Well, what it is it's a boudoir marathon photo shoot. So the ladies come, they book in, they have professional hair and makeup done, and then it's followed by a photo shoot. So it is lots of fun. The ladies have an absolute ball. They sit there, relax, get pampered, have a glass of bubbly, have a few jokes, and then walk out feeling out of this world. Absolutely beautiful, sexy, and yeah, what every woman really wants.
And you are donating all the proceeds to Parent to Parent?
Yes. So the ladies pay $100 to book in. That secures their appointment. That covers the makeup, the hair, and the photo shoot. And that $100 goes directly to Parent to Parent.
Wow. And why did you want to do something for Parent to Parent? What inspired that?
The first boudoir marathon we did was a few months ago, and that was in New Plymouth for Canteen. Same sort of concept. And then when we did one in Tauranga about a month ago, I just found that a lot of people didn't really know who Parent to Parent was. Everybody knows who Canteen is, and I'm not saying one charity is better than another, but the awareness was not out there for Parent to Parent. And I have an 8-year-old son who's got attention deficit and hyperactivity. So I'm a part of Parent to Parent, and it's a fantastic organisation. So I just thought, build a little bit of awareness for the organisation. They're celebrating their 30 years of being in the community, and also raising a bit of money for them at the same time.
And what is Parent to Parent then?
So what it is, it's a non-profit organisation that helps and supports families that have got special needs and disabled children. So we've got, we meet up once a month for coffee groups, we've got functions that we do, different outings that we go to, and it's all parents that have got children with any type of special need or disability. So you can get together, have a chat to somebody who's got children with the same situations, and it is just a really supportive environment. So it helps a lot for the families that are needing it.
And it's helped you?
It has, absolutely. I've met some amazing friends there. We've learned a lot, we've got a lot of information, so it's definitely a great place to go if you've got that need.
And why do you think it is important for women to do something for themselves?
Well, we all want to feel sexy and gorgeous, don't we? And that's exactly what this does. We don't, as women, I don't think we put ourselves first. We put the needs of our children, our husbands, our family, we put that first. So this is just the opportunity to take a couple of hours out of our busy schedules, get absolutely pampered, made to look beautiful, and then document that by having a photo shoot. So it's something you're doing for yourself. Obviously, yes, it's a great gift to give to a partner, but it is just something you do for yourself, and you walk out feeling beautiful, feeling sexy and attractive, and that in itself I think is very powerful for a woman. The ladies that have come through have absolutely loved it. They really have enjoyed it. So yeah, that's what we're aiming to achieve.
Can you tell us about some of those success stories? What have they got to you?
The one that we had in Tauranga would have been about 3 weeks ago. We had a lady that came in, she had been following the Facebook page, and she came in, she didn't know what Parent to Parent was about, and she was a classic mother that needed to be there. She's got 2 young children with special needs, quite severe. So she came in and she had a lovely time. She wrote me an email afterwards, and she said she'd come in feeling anxious and really unattractive, and every time she looks in the mirror she just sees a grieving woman. She sees all the tears, all the hospital visits. She said she walked out of there just feeling so sexy and powerful. She hadn't felt like that in years. And she has also now joined Parent Parent. So not only has it brought a woman to the organisation, or a family to the organisation that really needed it, but she felt a lot more powerful, she felt a lot more confident in herself. So she went home feeling happier. And quite honestly, as mothers and wives, we're no good to the family if we're not happy and confident and feeling in control. So just a little bit of that can really help. We've had other ladies that have come through and also written emails afterwards and written letters and said how comfortable they felt during the shoot, how absolutely amazing it was and what it did for them. So I really think it's good for women. It's good for us to just have that time to feel beautiful, to look gorgeous, and then have it documented and something to take home at the end of the day.
Why do you think we don't look after ourselves as women? We kind of do put our, other people first.
We do,
don't we?
absolutely. Our priorities are never put first. I think as mothers and as wives, there's so much else to do. There's always a child wanting something, wanting attention. We do run the household and the family, and we just don't feel that there's time, that we can't spend the money doing it, we shouldn't be. Maybe the mothers aren't necessarily working, so feel guilty about spending a little bit of money on ourselves, and we shouldn't. I really don't think ladies should. I think we should spend a bit more time on looking good, on feeling good. It makes a difference to the whole environment in the household as well.
And as a parent of a child that does have certain needs,
yes.
Do you think that it is harder to find that time to look after yourself?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I've got 3 boys, and I joke and say they're all ADHD. Only one's diagnosed, though. But it is. I think just as a normal family, it's hard to find time to get away. But with mothers that have got special needs, it's extra hard. They don't have the confidence to trust a babysitter, which is a big thing, A lot of these mothers have got children in wheelchairs or severely disabled children, and they just don't trust a stranger or somebody else to look after their child, or they feel guilty about leaving the child with even their own partner. So, and there are so many mums out there that are single and they're doing this on their own, so they just don't have that support structure. They don't have somebody to leave their children with.
So whereabouts can we go to find out about your lovely Ladies' Day Out for this one?
Right, you can go to the website, which is www.dreamshotsstudios.com. You can also look me up on Facebook, so it's Dreamshot Studios. We've got our next Budo Marathon in Hamilton next weekend at Woodlands Historic Estate. Beautiful venue. So yes, so we're going to be doing it all over the country. We've got Auckland and Wellington still to go this year, and then tackling a few more cities next year. So it's going to be a national thing, and we just hope it's going to bring in lots of exposure for parent to parent.
Visit Dreamshot Studios to find out more about how you can get pampered for the day. Just ahead, a young local off to the United Nations conference. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. St Peter's School Year 13 student Emily Anslemi is thrilled after being selected for the New Zealand Schools delegation to an international Model United Nations conference in Europe next year. The Hague International Model United Nations will attract more than 3,000 international students and teachers to the Netherlands next January. We caught up with Emily to find out just what this means for her and her future.
So what is a Model United Nations conference, and what sort of things will you do there?
A Model United Nations is basically an imitation United Nations for students. Students are given the opportunity to represent a country or a non-governmental organisation and to push their views over policies like biodiversity, security issues, and we're even given crisis situations sometimes. So someone will literally run into the room and scream, "Libya's at war!" and expect you to represent your country's views on what you do in that situation. So it's a brilliant and amazing experience.
And do you have to do much to prepare or sort of work on your debating skills at all before you head over to the conference?
I didn't do a lot of speaking skill work, but the research load is immense. I mean, I felt particularly sorry for the poor people who were representing New Zealand, because the moment they got anything wrong, everyone in the room knew that they got it wrong. So you really have to know your country's policies inside out.
And how did you get selected to attend this conference?
The first step was to be selected for the New Zealand Model United Nations, and then once you'd got past that step, you were asked to provide a series of essay questions, basically about your skills, your experiences, and then what you had to offer and what you could gain from the experience. Then they basically looked at what we did and how we acted at the conference, and we had an interview there. And that was the selection process.
Where did your interest in politics begin?
Year 9 social studies, when we studied the governmental class and actually got the opportunity to be elected. I didn't make it to president, but I did make it to secretary, which was kind of my little highlight.
And what do you enjoy the most about it?
I think the challenge, the idea that you have to be able to stand up there and say another, possibly not even your own country's views, and get support for them and actually get your amendments voted through and gain that support. And you have to walk around and find your allies, and just the challenge of taking on that kind of massive role and then succeeding is probably my favourite bit.
So you also recently won the UN Waikato branch speech competition. So can you tell us more about that and what you spoke on?
So it's an annual competition and it's open to all secondary students. I have to say the first year I did it there was 3 of us, but this year we had 12 I think, so it's grown in numbers over the years. And this year's topic was water security. So I personally was addressing the kind of human causes of water security and what we do to actually impinge upon that, and then how we can resolve it through things like better farming methods and more communication over water issues.
Now, you've also been involved with Youth Parliament, so can you tell us about that?
Well, I was lucky enough to be asked to represent Barbara Stewart, and so I got to go down there for the 3 days, and I was also on the Maori Select Committee. So we had some really interesting debates going in that room. It was possibly one of the loudest rooms, but it was the most amazing experience. I mean, the ability to sit in those seats, those very comfy seats, and act like a politician and have an up-close and really personal experience of what it would mean to be a New Zealand politician and how the New Zealand government works was just incredible.
What are some current national or even global issues that you yourself are quite interested in?
Well, recently I've been quite caught on by the economic monopolisation issues that we've been having, like with Fonterra and like with the transnational corporation domination like overseas, and how that's affecting international trade and actually poverty, and that it's destroying opportunities for less economically developed countries.
And where to from here?
Well, hopefully law and international relations at Victoria, and I'm also looking at making my second major of my BA development studies, because I think that would be really interesting to have the opportunity to work for an organisation like the Red Cross and then do some kind of on-ground work and get a real understanding of what the issues are before I go and try and change them.
What can others who are interested in politics do to sort of see their passions and their dreams brought to life and have the kind of success that you've had?
I think the key was really taking every single opportunity that's offered. I mean, I was really lucky at St Peter's. I had teachers who were constantly shoving opportunities in my face, from speech competitions to the Waikato Moral UN. And that opportunity to take those and then to make the most of them, because it's a really small community. I meet the same people at every event I do, and you get those close connected bonds and you meet them later on in life, and they're extremely useful.
If you have any queries or questions about the Model UN experience, the New Zealand Model UN program, or access to these debates, please email victoria.clark@unyouth.org.nz. That is the news for today. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook. Let us know your views. If you have news including your own video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. I will be back tomorrow night with more guests from in and around our regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.